The only thing more exhausting than solving a problem is explaining why the problem is not your fault. Welcome to Surviving Ish. I'm your host, David, and I'm so excited about the guest we have today. I will share the link to an episode I did with Miss Jessie at this point several years ago. But you have an incredible story. You've written a book called Girl Hidden, and it's a memoir. And I can't wait to have this conversation with you. You've remained a friend. That's one thing that I love about the people that I've had on is there's very few that are still on a part of my life. I'm going to start the show out with this before we get to the ish. One of the things that you and I have in common that I remember that almost kind of bonded us is we both like candles. And so I didn't like mine. I didn't like mine yet until I was with you. Usually I have it lit before I start, but I wanted to light it with you. And it's water, and I love it.
Love. That's awesome.
It's so good.
I'm working really hard on like getting into the fall spirit. Like I love spooky season, but I'm very much a summer girl. And I have a pine candle right now. And I also have a pumpkin spice, which I haven't had in my house in a really long time. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
So before I get too far off of things, but like, I think that we get to a place, and maybe it's wishful thinking, maybe it's toxic positivity, maybe both of those things can be true. But when we think about memories and something being triggered by like, the smell of candy or the smell of like homemade biscuits or cake or a candle or cologne or perfume, I think that we automatically want to think that that is taking us to a lovely memory, but that's not always the case. And then our defenses go up, right? Like I've smelled certain colognes out in public, like someone walked past me, and all of a sudden I notice that my breathing is different, and
that your heart rate goes up,
and
your body goes into like protective mode without you even knowing.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how many times I've smelled the scent of maybe a man that my body remembers from my attacker, but I didn't know my attacker, right? Like, and I don't have memories of those things, but the body remembers.
Yeah. There's I don't want to say it's an excellent book because there are some things in it that are problematic, but there's actually a book called The Body Keeps the Score.
The Body Keeps the Score. Yep.
And it had some really salient points about like, okay, you may not like, it's not in the frontal cortex of your brain. Your body is going, you are not safe.
Yeah.
And the thing we have to take into consideration with all of that is, as humans, like we've only been around on this planet for like, that long. We're still, 10,000 years ago, which is a blink in the world, we could hear a sound and know, is that a deer? Is that a bear? Am I being hunted? Right. Yeah. And, those we could smell the smell. Is that a safe smell? Is that a not safe smell? And our bodies automatically know. And I think that historically they've proven that those things pass down generation to generation, including trauma. I mean, it's got its pros, it's got its cons, just like so many things in our bodies. But yeah, it's one of those things where like when they say listen to your intuition, listen to your intuition.
Yeah. And that is something that I'm working on. Like I have a hard time trusting my gut. And it's because where I'm in a place of I've always been told trust my gut. Well, now I'm making the conscious effort to trust my gut, and my gut is telling me this. But I'm like, but am I trusting it because it's my gut, or is it my brain trying to, or something trying to make me think that this is my gut telling me this when it's not, because now my body is against me, right? But the truth in most cases is probably the fact that it's a victim trauma response. My body is not to get me. My body is here to protect me.
Exactly.
But I have to remind
yeah. Do you find that you try to solve the problem of why you're feeling the way that you're feeling more often than you feel the way that you feel. Yeah,
Yeah. I spent
that's a tough one.
much time focusing on how to correct something that, because I'm told that feeling a certain way, or we've been told by society or whomever, that feeling a certain way means you're broken, means you're damaged. And so when I'm feeling, when I have anxiety, I'm like, oh, well, of course my insurance company is going to deny this, and this isn't real to this person, or someone's going to say, well, that's your scapegoat. And so I'm in this cycle when I need to say, you know what, fuck them. I know my body, I know what I'm feeling, and now what do I do to correct that, or to nurture that?
Yeah. Listening to your internals is really hard. I will say one of the things that's actually been the most healing for me, and we're talking like 8 years of therapy, okay? And I was in therapy for 3 years with my therapist before she finally went, "You're a really good storyteller." And I was like, I mean, yes. I mean, yeah, thank you. And she's like, no, seriously. Anytime I gently push on a feeling that you're having, you change directions and tell a story. And I've been following along. And I've just realized over the last few weeks that you're trying to solve the problem of why you feel the way that you feel instead of feeling the way that you feel.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what?
Uh,
No, we're not. No. And it takes like thank God for TikTok, because learning about gentle parenting and having grandchildren has changed my life. Like even little things like, okay, I'm having a rough day, my brain's not in it, I'm in a fog, I don't feel good, whatever the situation is, I will literally go, okay, if my sweet grandson came to me at the age of 12, well, he's 14 now, but if he came to me and said, Emma, I don't feel good. Buddy, what's going on? Well, I'm a little nauseous and I'm just really tired today. Would my response be, well, buck up, bucko, we got work to do? No, we don't. No, not in a million years. I'd be like, oh, buddy, well, what did you eat? Have you had anything to drink today? Do you want some ibuprofen? How about we pick a movie and we'll curl up on the couch, make a nest, okay? I would care for him above all else. That would be my absolute drop everything. This kiddo needs some love. Why? Why would I not do that for myself? And so learning how to gentle parent all of those different parts of yourself is vital. And it has literally changed the way that my internal voice goes, which is pretty cool.
I,
Not perfect, but getting there.
well, 100, because I mean, things change per generation, and as people will learn, throughout this conversation, and if they haven't heard your story yet, a lot of this territory is still fairly new to you, with with being a loving, supportive parent, aunt, uncle, cousin, godparent, grandparent. you know there's a lot of new territory for you, which we'll put a pin in and get to. So before we get too much further,
Okay.
just because I've been really bad, and my producers have been like, bitch, because the conversation gets so deep, I forget about the ish.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the ish.
So we're putting some pins in things that we just discussed because they're all very important. But I cannot wait to hear what you're surviving ish in your life right now.
So, okay. So, are we doing, so when we talk about the ish, walk me through this. Is this like a pet peeve or is this like this is the challenge I'm facing right now? Because those are two different things.
Right. Well, either or. There's no wrong answer, right? It's like I find that mine are just like petty, stupid little things, but
There
in
we
a
go.
place to be like, I understand that you're 80 years old and you can't move as fast as I can, but I need you to be a little courteous and just maybe get a little closer. Like mine are petty, sometimes bitchy, so there's no right or wrong answer.
Okay. Well, you know how everybody talks about, like, there's a whole conversation about taking your cart back when you go to the grocery store, right? Just that, boy. All right. And I will literally, if I see carts wandering about, I'll just be like, all right, well, this is what I'm doing now to make sure nobody's car gets dinged, whatever. But that's, everybody's got that. Mine, and understand, I've never worked in a grocery store. I've never worked in a big chain store. The closest I came was working at the fancy schmancy gift store at the inner city commune, which was swanky AF. Um, but in a grocery store, the amount of times that I have found meat sitting in like the cereal aisle where somebody will be like, or the candy aisle where they'll be like, oh, do I want hamburger or do I want Dove chocolates? I'm going to get the Dove chocolates. And then they leave the meat sitting there. What? Why? 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 I, and just that'll get my toenails curled pretty damn quick.
That's a good one. That's a good
Right?
one because I understand that we're going to change our minds sometimes, right? Like
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
steak sounded good, but the hamburgers I can have, I can afford enough to have maybe lunch tomorrow, and the buns are also on sale. But that doesn't mean take the steaks out of your buggy and place them on a shelf that is not a cooling unit.
Thank you. Because now that is now, I mean, okay, big grocery chain, screw you guys, but at the end of the day, you're allowing food to go bad. They can't put that back in the freezer now because we have no idea how long it's been sitting there. And my daughter-in-law used to work for one of the big grocery chains up here for years. She was a manager. And she told me that at least once a week, they would end up with a cart full of those kinds of food items that they would literally just have to throw away. Why?
And there's this trickle down effect, right? Like uh, when a company, I don't care how much money they have, when we live in a world in an America at this day and time where billionaires feel like they don't have enough money and they want to take away from the people that are making $7.25 an hour up to maybe 15. None of those are livable wages. um,
Right?
but these people, these billionaires, we're the ones that still paying that price. So anytime, regardless of what tax bracket you're in, when you put something like that on a shelf, we're the ones paying for it. And odds are, in most of society, especially if we're doing our own shopping at Walmart or Kroger,
Right?
we're in a certain tax bracket, whether you're wealthy or not, and we're paying for it.
Yeah. The government sure do take a bite, don't she? And the big businesses are always going to get their pay. If they got to raise the prices on us, they don't care. And if enough of that, it's just, it's one of those. It's the same thing with carts. It's like, we're part of a community. Can we act like it, please? Can we act like it? Can we just act like we're neighbors again?
I am
Anyway,
so pro putting the cart where it's supposed to go.
I thought you were going to say before the horse.
Right. But like I saw, it might have been a TikTok or something, where someone was leaving their cart by their car and they were getting in the car and they were leaving and someone walked up and was like I think the TikTok is called like cart police or something like that. And which I love. Like they made stickers and magnets and things they put on their
Oh, that's awesome.
purchases. I leave my cart out in the middle. Like it's kind of funny. But they went up to, if this is the same person situation, they went up to someone and they were like, "Ma'am, why are you leaving your car? Like someone's going to need to park here. It could roll into someone else's car." And she was like, when you could tell she was older, and she was like, "I'm just really sore. I couldn't get my cane and my walker and also put the buggy where it goes. I'm having to use the buggy kind of as my cane and walker like I do, but because I'm lazy." and so she was like, at the point of getting it here, I'm just so exhausted that she's like, I feel bad for her. And you could tell, like, there was some real, like,
Wow.
oh, wow, And so I have started doing this thing, like, when I get out of my car at Walmart. I shop at Walmart a lot. There's one just right down the street. And it's a nope. Well, yeah, probably, but it's a mega one. but I always try to park next to, like, the furthest buggy cart thing, because I'm like,
Hmm.
put a step or two in before I lean up against the buggy.
Sure.
But if I see someone walking and they look like they could maybe use some assistance, I
Yeah.
I ask them if I can help them. Or I'm like, hey, was that a good buggy? Like, did all the wheels work? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, can I take it for you and keep this,
Yeah.
and so that way I'm helping them. Like, I try to do those little things, um, because
Yeah, and it makes a difference. It really does. Like whether you see it or not, those little moments of kindness can make the difference.
yeah,
There was a story a while ago about a young man who said that he was on his way to the bridge to jump off. He was going to unalive himself. And he said, if any, in his head, he was like, if anyone says hi to me in this big city, I won't do it.
I
Right?
remember that story.
Those little kindnesses, man, they add up.
Well, and remind me, like, obviously we're having this. We know this story, so obviously someone stopped him and was kind to him in some kind of. I can't remember it all. Do you remember how it?
I don't remember the whole story. I just remember that somebody was like, "Hey, how you doing today?" and was just like in passing, like, "You look like you needed a smile. How are things going?" or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, and
I'm gonna have to
it,
find it and put the link in the show notes, because I remember that story. But
yeah,
of course, we're in a place where just life, right? Where
right.
we remember the gist of things, but now I'm like, I want to know everything. And
I want the details.
I want
Give me
him
the
on the
tea.
show. I want him on the show. And I want the person that said, hey, how are you? On the
Right?
fucking show. Like, those are the people we need to be talking to in today's America.
Absolutely. It's the good news we freaking need. It's the
Yeah.
good news we freaking need because the news cycle is it's a dumpster fire out there. It just is. So any of the little wins, any of the happy, this is one of the things I'm so excited that you're doing this podcast because we need good news. There's a dance instructor who lives out here. He travels all over the world. Is an incredibly talented dance instructor, and he actually has a podcast, and that's all he does is the news that is good. This is the good news. These are the good things that are happening in the world, and it's
Yeah.
so encouraging, especially when like because we get on TikTok or whatever, we're doom scrolling, and then you sort of sink down in your chair a little bit more. Like, all right, where are the cute puppies and the cake making videos? God,
Well, you know what and thank you so much for saying that. There's a couple of things that I want to say to that, and then I'll give my ish. Is someone asked me, what was the point of me doing, this show and calling it Surviving Ish? Because so many people want to say, no, you're not a victim, you were a survivor. There's no ish to it. And I get that, but I think there's a lot of toxic positivity behind that. Like, there's some days I feel like I'm held on with duct tape and a prayer, but you know what? My prayer, my duct tape is strong as fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
in the, I wanted to almost reclaim the word survivor, because I found myself getting offended a lot when I
Mm,
would say I was a victim of a hate crime. They'd be like, no, 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 you're a survivor of a hate crime. Um, sure, but
right, yeah,
I was not a survivor when he was raping me. I
right,
I survived, you know, but that's
yeah.
because for many reasons, but one of them is because he stuck at doing what he was supposed to, what he was thought he was going to do. His goal was to kill me. You know what I mean?
Fuck
Like,
that one up.
and I was a victim in that moment, and I will not. I don't have a hate relationship with the word victim. I don't think that there's this negative meaning to it for the true victim. Could
Right.
what you're a victim of. Hell yeah, there's a bunch of negativity with that. you know
Yeah.
but the truth is, I was a victim of something. I fought hard, and here I am. And but then I also found myself getting, sorry for my monologue, but I also found myself getting triggered sometimes with the word, survivor. Don't
Hmm.
tell me that, and I know they have good intentions, but when I say, oh, I was a victim of a hate crime, but here's where I am today, they're like, no, 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 you're a survivor of a hate crime. Fine.
Right. But are you helping me or are you making yourself feel better? Because
Right.
those are two different things.
Right. And maybe today I don't feel like the survivor, that meaning there's this stance on something, like I will never negate the fact that I survived. But I'm also not going to negate the fact that there's parts of me that are bruised, and there were parts of me that were broken. And granted, I had some duct tape and a prayer, if you will, and some good cement and a lovely support. But I think that we can be all of these things, and we don't have to put so much. I think so many things can be true at the same time.
Agreed. Very much so.
Yeah.
I had a similar, and then I will let you get to your ish because
Oh, please.
we're gonna be going for days.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I had the hardest time with the word resilient. When people would tell me, "Oh, you're so resilient with what you went through. You're so resilient." Don't say that I'm not. I I crawled out of there with, I didn't have a, I, you know, yeah. And so my therapist would say it to me occasionally, and I would like bristle, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then my best friend, who, June in my book, who loves me, knows me very intimately, would say that to me, and I would just be like, no, don't. And so finally, after like many years of therapy, my therapist said it to me, and I was like, okay, stop. You have to stop. And she's like, okay, walk me through this. What's happening? And I was like, there's a difference between somebody who chooses to have an experience and someone who is a victim of that experience. I'm like, look, you tell a cancer survivor, you're a hero. Cool. Sure. You tell a fireman, you're a hero. Which one of them got up that morning and put the suit on? And the fireman chose to be a hero. I was trapped in that situation. I'm not resilient because I'm this big, all powerful, sparkly, well, nothing affects me kind of person. That's not what happened. I'm resilient only in the fact that I got up this morning and didn't fling myself in front of a bus. I don't know that that makes me a hero as much as it makes me existing on this planet. I chose to exist. And yes, sometimes that does make me a hero. But that's a me thing. I don't really need anybody to say that. And when I finally explained it to my bestie, she was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah."
Well,
So if some,
I love that you said that, because I think that we get caught in this place that if I self proclaim that I'm a hero for surviving what I survived, of becoming a survivor from what I was victimized as, and then publicly speaking out and fighting, and sharing my story, and being a loving support, strong, safe place for other people to share their story. Um, if I self-identify from those things as a hero, well, it's went to your head. You're a narcissist.
there we go. Yep.
And I don't want to be anything. Well, I shouldn't say anything, because I'm sure there's something that somebody could bring to my attention, right? But I don't want to be identified as something that I don't feel that I'm not, regardless if your opinion is different than mine.
Yeah.
Will there come a day that I feel like a hero? Absolutely. Have there been a couple of those moments? 100%. I'm sure
Sure.
you have too. But I don't think that we walk around as, well, I did this and this person called me a hero, so I'm a hero every day. And so, but where we can't self-proclaim things without being a narcissistic asshole, it's like, well, I can't proclaim it, but I don't like you proclaiming it for me. So what do we do?
There's a line from Deadpool. Oh no. Oh God, don't judge me. We're having this serious conversation. There's a line from Deadpool. I think it was the second one where the big silver guy, whatever his name was like, you don't wake up a hero, brush your teeth a hero, take a shower a hero. It's 4 or 5 moments that make you a hero, right? And that's exactly what it is. Like, I'm not a hero because I brushed my teeth. I mean, some people are, but I'm not a hero because I brushed my teeth this morning. I still put my pants on one leg at a time unless I'm very tired and sitting down, right? I still have to wear socks. I have my own weird quirks and things, and life inside my head is a whole different ball of yarn, I guess, and a couple of dust bunnies, 2 cats, and a gremlin. But it doesn't make me a hero every single day. Now, let me ask you this, because you said that being called a survivor makes you uncomfortable and makes you feel like you need to kind of challenge that as like, some days yes, some days no. Do you feel like, do you feel uncomfortable when people say things like, "Oh my God, you're such an encouragement. You're so brave. You're such an inspiration." Any of that make you twitch? No, because somebody else is saying it about you, not necessarily. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. But even thinking back on it, like when someone's like, "You're so," and it almost goes back to that Deadpool quote that you just made. Like there are these moments that you're the hero, and I feel like when someone says you're a survivor, I feel like it's almost like that all the time. Like that means you're this title all the time. What
Mm-hmm.
the word is on the tip of my tongue when you say the words like always and never. It's called.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I'm like,
yes. Where it's like you've basically put a stop on the conversation if you say you always do this thing. I,
right.
I don't always do that thing. I did it twice and it pissed you off. That's a different conversation, right? And
Yeah.
always and never shuts the conversation down.
I
But I don't
almost
know
feel
where
like
it is.
telling me that I'm a survivor means that I'm no longer allowed to have those weak, vulnerable moments of what happened to me. For
Yeah.
instance, at the time of this recording, this podcast hasn't even been released yet. We're hoping November, the 1st of November,
Let's
um,
go.
for the whole podcast. Like, no, nothing's been released yet. We're actually just going to start promoting. But as of today, right now, it is October 14th. This is the anniversary, or October is the anniversary of my hate crime. It's going to be 11 years, and 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 sometimes 11 years seems like an eternity. But in things like this, it seems like yesterday, because it wasn't just 11 years ago that the thing happened. There was a year of trial. There was, weeks of hospitalization. There was months of not being able to drive a car or be in my home. There was years of doing damage control, people wanting to blame the victim. So what 11 years could seem like to Bob down the street is yesterday to me. And the fact that, like, when someone says you are a hero, or excuse me, I shouldn't say hero, but you're a survivor. Now that I'm so we are 9 days away from the anniversary. And of course that weighs on me,
Yeah.
right? And we remember those days. Our body knows.
Your body keeps the score. Yep.
And so, but now that I'm deemed this brave, confident fighter survivor, then that means I have to cry alone at night, because I'm going to fool people, or make people think that I was trying to fool them, or that I'm a liar in some kind of sort when they see me be weak again.
That's, yep, all of what you just said. And as far as time goes, I'm about to quote another movie on you because I quote this all the time. It was said by the effervescent LL Cool J in the spectacular film Deep Blue Sea. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a great movie. Anyway, he said when he was talking about how Albert Einstein was talking about how time is relative, right? And he said, put your hands on a hot stove, 2 seconds can feel like hours. Put your hand on a hot woman, 2 hours can feel like a second. Right? That, that get Albert Einstein on the phone. This guy knows what he's talking about, right? Like
that is brilliant, because I think, and forgive me for getting political, but I think where Democrats go wrong with things is they don't do a mass parade and tour of all the things that they've done successfully. It's like, okay, this was done, and everyone, succeeded from it, and everyone's good and happy, and so now next chapter. And then you
right.
have like Republicans who will run around on this whole like pat me on the back tour, and so that's what people remember.
Yeah.
And so that quote reminded me of that. Again, not trying to make it political, but it's like we have to simplify things for us to relate to. Because
Right.
as democratic as I am, sometimes I listen to them talk and I'm like, I don't know what you just said, but it all sounds good and right, and people are cheering. And
Sure.
then sometimes I hear like a Republican talk, and I'm like, I hated everything that you just said, but I knew the definition of every word you just said.
Exactly.
I just
Exactly. And I
hated
feel like the Democrats are missing out on, I mean, bless her heart, Hillary Clinton missed a lot in her campaign with the quote unquote flyover states. Uh, Pretty sure Americans still live there, friend. Pretty sure they do. And not everybody is the highly educated, city, urban, whatever. Like, cool. Those people are great. I have a college education. I am one of 2 of my 8 siblings that actually has a college education.
right.
And I mean, it's only an associate's degree in graphic design. I went to art school. Like, it's not like I mean, my brother has like a bachelor's degree in criminal sciences and was for like his final test, he is the number 1 in the country to pass. Like, he didn't just pass the test, he passed it plus extra, plus extra. Nobody has a higher score than him. He's brilliant. Like, it's just,
That's
anyway.
amazing.
But
But
like,
but
but
I don't love that you tried to almost minimize what you've accomplished.
fair. Okay, that's totally that's totally fair. I mean, Sigrid Cannon was one of my professors, and I made it through her class without strangling anybody. So I dare anyone to go to her class. She is a badass, and I still love her. She used to have
And
this.
I also want to throw into again, um, I'll put the link to the full episode of your full story in the show notes, but we have to also take into consideration what you went through as a woman in a household, or as a girl in a household where religion and certain forms of religion was a more of abuse than anything, and what you're raised to be told the role of a woman is. And so even though we're giving your brother credit for being, a genius, and absolutely he probably is, I'm not trying to minimize that by any means, but he was also allowed to think on a genius level.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you were able to repeat and redo certain things now.
I got a list.
You know what I mean? Because for you to succeed and have the grades and shit that you did, surely after your escape from the destruction, and you did as well as you did, imagine if you were treated equally.
Oh my God. The who could I have been moment could have been it. Could have changed the world. Give me that Nobel Peace Prize. Let's talk about it. But I mean, my husband and I have talked about this before. That because I was like, I was having a moment, and I was like, here are the things that I wish. I was really struggling specifically with 19-year-old me, because 19-year-old me ran away from my crazy, psychotic, like super religious, messed up, narcissistic, abusive family, and jumped out of the frying pan right into the fire into an inner city commune in Chicago. Because, if you're going to run away from home, you got to join an inner city commune. I mean, that's just what you do.
I
And
think I read that in a book somewhere too. So
yeah, it might have been in there.
constitution
And
or something.
right. And yeah, so it felt comfortable because I was still being told what to do. I was still expected to do certain things, right? What I wore. Um, my God, if my bra strap showed, and oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if anybody can see this. This is going to be on video or whatever, but I'm a big breasted lady. I got tits for days. I have a cleavage mark in a t-shirt. Okay, this, and I don't know how to say this, but this is my body. It's what I look like. But the amount of times that I not just as a 19-year-old, but we're talking as a 32-year-old, was talked to because my shirt was too low, my jeans were too tight.
Yeah,
Well, we don't want to stumble the single brothers.
yeah,
And men are supposed to be leaders, really? This shoulder? Like, oh, they can see your bra strap. At least they know I'm wearing one. Fuck off. No. So me, so anyway, so we were having this whole discussion about like me being so angry at 19-year-old me, making these dumb decisions, marrying this older guy because the ministry thought it was a good idea and he just needed love. And where was your self-respect and everything? And my husband, who is a very stoic, very intelligent man, is just looking at me. He's a great listener. And he's like, I wouldn't change a thing. And I'm like, okay, I know your story. Are you serious right now? And he goes, no, I wouldn't change anything. And I'm like, but why though? You, who could you have been if what? I don't understand. And he's like, every choice that I made brought me to where I am today. And where I am today is happier than I've ever been in my life. And if I had made this choice and gone off down that path in the multiverse or this path in the multiverse, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have my 4 kids. I wouldn't have my 6 grandchildren. I wouldn't have the life that I have. I wouldn't miss out on that for anything. And I'd be really bummed if you did. And I was like, oh, that's fair. New way to look at it, right? Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I just, yeah.
well, it doesn't matter, because it was beautifully said, right? And I've had this conversation multiple times that I'm in a place where I would not change or take away what happened to me.
Wow.
And now I wouldn't wish it on me, but
Right.
odds are I would not have a podcast, especially a mental health podcast. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a little bit of grace and leeway here. I may have had a Days of Our Lives podcast.
Yes.
I may have, but
Gotta love your stories. Gotta love your stories.
listen, I mean, I've watched for 40 years, 38 actually,
I
but
was gonna say, so when you were a fetus, hello, are
yeah,
you closing in on 40 for real?
I'm 44.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm 44.
Oh my God. I had no idea. I seriously thought you were my kid's age. I thought you were like 35 at the oldest.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, your skincare routine is on point. Well done, sir.
What is Zest bar soap and Botox?
Botox. That's what I'm missing.
That's what it is. Honey, I love a good cheek and lip injection, Botox injection. Love
There
it.
you go. Got to get rid of I'm getting all the little wrinkles right here, the crow's feet. But I will say this. My mother, who's a freaking nut job, her wrinkles all went down, like the down, because she was constantly frowning. So
Yeah.
she had the like frowny wrinkles and the lines here and whatever. I do have the frowny wrinkle, but that's because when I'm working, I'm doing this all the time. So I get
The
those wrinkles.
11s.
The 11s, yes, it was one at but I'm getting the crow's feet now at the tender age of 48, and I love them. I think they're absolutely adorable, and all of my laugh lines go up, so I win.
I fucking love that.
Thank you.
So you just mentioned your mother. I I'm not gonna do my ish today. I feel like I've ished some already in this
Are you
conversation.
sure?
And yes. And I feel like with what I shared about the grocery store stuff is because that was on my list of issues, because like the bugging. So I've ished, but I before we so all right, listener, we're gonna get into a bit of a deeper part of a topic here. But luckily Jess and I are really good at like going out a fun little punchline and joke here and there, and we love it. But before we hit record, you were telling me that you got a message a few days ago from your brother
Mhm.
that your mother had passed away. And for
Yep.
anyone that doesn't know about Jesse's story, of course, her mother played a huge role into um, you know what, I can't speak for you, so I'm gonna let you take over from here.
Well, I'm not gonna say if it's not one thing, it's my mother. Wait. Um, so yes, my mother is the evil voice inside of my head, right? Just to give you like a really brief overview, listeners, I was put up for adoption 3 times before I was 2 years old. My mother tried to murder me after I was born, and she got religion when I was about 4, spent a year talking her dad into giving her custody of me. When my grandmother found out the abuse that was happening, she kidnapped me away from them since she still had legal custody, but it was a run and hide kind of situation because my mother and my stepfather are dangerous humans. And then less than a year later, I was kidnapped out of my grandmother's house. My mother and her best friend Mary Sue drove across state lines, and which was taking a minor across state lines for potentially immoral purposes. And that's when the FBI got involved. When they lost us in the Atlanta airport, I was in hiding for almost 3 years. And I lost quite a bit of my memory during that time. So, long story. My mother, I, I don't know that there's a good story. There's some funny stories about my mom. But the last time I talked to her was, I want to say 2007. So, like, it's been like 7, 8 years, something like that. And I hadn't seen her for 20 years before that because she's crazy. And I have the letters and the cards and the notes and the journals to prove it. Like,
So
I
you
have the
mentioned
data.
20 years, and then about 7 or 8 years ago, there was some kind of, I guess, like phone call or some kind of.
No, I went and met her in person. I went and met her in person. I was down in North Carolina, which is where I was raised, foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I was like, I think it was the third time that I had gone down to North Carolina. I was down there with my husband, which I will say my bestie is still pissed about because she never got to meet her. She was pissed. She's like, I have walked through this with you for 20 years and you're taking that man to meet him. I'm like, if you want to fly down here, I bring your camera. Let's just do this for real. And so we went down for my baby sister's, one of my next oldest sister's wedding. And I cried. I'm sitting there with all of my siblings that my mother had worked so hard to keep us apart in so many ways. And I got to see her dance with all of her brothers, and I'm holding my little niece with all guilt, and I just sitting there just sobbing like it was magic. And so the next morning I got up and I got her phone number from my baby's sister, and I was like, "Hey mama, this is Jessie. Don't hang up." And she's like, "Hi." And I'm like, "I would like to take you out for coffee or tea." And she's like, "Okay, we can meet at this particular restaurant." I'm like, "Cool." She's like, "Do you mind if I bring your father, my stepfather, the one who assaulted me repeatedly for you?" "Sure, bring him. Bring him." Now, in this small town, my family lives so far out in the boondocks that when you leave the house, you do not have cell service anywhere in the town. There is no cell service in the town. You literally have to log into the internet, right? So I text all of my siblings. I'm like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm going out for coffee with mom and papa, and I'll keep you informed." Text my bestie, and she calls me and she's all like pissed off. And then she goes, "Okay, okay, okay. Most important question. What are you wearing?"
Obviously. Wait, is
Right? Like, let's get to the nitty gritty here. And I was like, "I will keep you informed." So we go. go to the pool. I'll walk in. There's my mom and dad. And the first thing I noticed, because my mother is 5'10". My stepfather, now was, I suppose, 5'10". My stepfather, 6'2", and a Marine. They are big people. And my mother was a very large, unhealthy 5'10". And she takes up all the air in the room as soon as she walks into it. She's such a big personality. Don't know where I get that from. And I couldn't believe how small they were. They were so small. And so I'm like, I sit down, introduce them to my husband. Now, my husband was raised in the Pacific Northwest. So he knows how to do Pacific Northwest nice, which is like, oh, honey, anyway, right? So my stepfather, I don't remember him saying a word. He just sat there moping, looking at me sadly. The girlfriend that got away. Fuck him. And my mother tried to control the conversation. Like she would start a conversation, and then she'd be like, well, my only goal now is to outlive my cats. And I would just be like, really? And before I could even respond, my beautiful spouse would go, oh, you have cats? What kind? How many? We're just going to keep this conversation going. You don't get to manipulate shit. So I clocked it at about 25 minutes. I was like, that's about as much as I needed. Thanks. I'm not expecting an apology. There's not going to be a good conversation. I just needed to be in the same room with them, scare the ghosts away, right? So we stand up. My mother's like, oh, well, I mean, do I get to see you again? No. And I had a moment when my stepfather got out of the booth. I had practiced. I had practiced it in the mirror. I'd practiced it in the car. I'd practiced in the shower. I knew exactly what I was going to say to this man. I was going to peel his skin off. It was going to be glorious. Right in the middle of the Mexican restaurant in Podunk, USA, right? This white man was just going to have his skin laying on the floor. And I have heard the phrase, not worth the breath in my lungs, and never understood it until that moment. He didn't deserve my anger. He was literally nothing. And I was like, all right. And so I turned to walk out. And before I got to the door, I remembered that my grandfather, her father, who she does not have a relationship with either, had given me his phone number and said, if you do see Dolores, I'd love to talk to her before I die. All right. So I turned around, walked back, handed her the note. And I was like, I had dinner with Granddad last night, because I'm still in a relationship with him. And he said he'd love to hear from you. Bye. And I walked out, and Alex is like walking next to me, and he's like, okay, how you doing? How you doing? And I'm like, I need a wheelbarrow for my testicles right now. I am a badass bitch. Let's go. And so 30 minutes later, in the middle of fucking nowhere, I finally log into my brother's internet and my phone explodes. All of my siblings had like gathered at one of the houses. Like, is she dead? Do we need to go after her? Is she been lit on fire and dumped in a lake somewhere? Is she okay? And of course, my bestie is like, like this. So I walked in and they're all like, what happened? And I was like, I will tell you in a minute, but if I don't answer my best friend's phone call, she's going to fly down here. So let's do that. And then I'll talk. But yeah, that was, and funny enough, when I came home, a lot of the like little twitches, the little like weird eccentricities that I had, the weird fears that I had, I just watched them just sort of fall off in succession.
It's a part of regaining that control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you, when you get to stand up to your bully, when you get to say, and those are minor words to what you went through, right? But when you get to stand up to your perpetrator, your bully, your bad guy, that when you face the monster under your bed,
right,
and you say, you know what, shame on you, I'm good, I was strong, I'm a survivor, I was a victim, whatever terminology you want to use, and I'm releasing you of the control that I've let you have over me.
Yep.
But I'm not forgetting shit.
Exactly. I struggle with the term forgiveness a lot, quite a bit since I have deconstructed from Christianity, because forgiveness, and please, this is my own two pennies. All right. So like, if you believe in forgiveness and that is how you are walking through your healing, please don't let me stop that. However, for me, because of the religious lifestyle that I grew up in, forgiveness means the slate is clean. And it's not. I no longer trust you. You are no longer a safe person. Well, you can forgive them for you. Fuck no. Fuck no. They don't deserve my forgiveness. I deserve peace. That's different. And I can have peace. I don't have to carry anger necessarily anymore. I can walk through all of those emotions and I can find peace within myself that does not in any way, shape, or form let them off the hook.
100. So I want to respond to that. Um, and then I have a question for you. So I would love, and luckily this is recorded. So when I'm editing, I'll remember. But when we go live, I would love for us to talk about forgiveness because I
Ooh,
think that means there's no right or wrong, right? It's
right.
like for me. What and I had a whole podcast episode about this that I've had to unfortunately delete for certain unmentioned reasons. But um I we're told we have to forgive and Christian, God's way and all this. And I struggled with that. No one told me that forgiving me and forgiving myself was the forgiveness that I needed, right? I was put on the back
Exactly.
burner with it. And because where I'm the victim, and well, I shouldn't do quotations with that because I absolutely was the victim. But where I'm the victim survivor,
Okay.
to use it properly, the quotations to the listener is that because I'm a victim, I thought there was no accountability, and I was told there was no accountability that I could take. But there's things I did that maybe hurt people during the confusing time that I had in recovery. And that was what was weighing on me the most. And that is what the forgiveness needed to be to forgive myself for having a horrific reaction to the shit pile of shit I was put in.
Yeah.
And no one tells us those things, right? It's like, well, no, you need to forgive him because it's what Jesus would do. And so now
Then let Jesus do it. That's on him. That
Johnny,
doesn't have anything to do with me.
one of my favorite country songs. I need to send you the link if you don't know it, but it says, "Forgive. It's a mighty big word for such a small man."
Yes. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
And there's another one that I love. It says, uh, she's talking about like he is saying, "Well, Jesus would forgive me," and she said, "Yeah, Jesus loves you. I don't."
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly that is that, and that is all on him. Y'all deal with your relationship however you need to,
Call
but do it
Jesus.
over there.
So okay, so I want to ask you this question because you made a really good point about something, and when we talk about the word hate and forgiveness and all these things and the pressure that it puts on the victim slash survivor
Mm-hmm.
more than the perpetrator. And so when mother and stepfather was like, well, will I ever see you again? And you're like, no. um One of the things that what is different between our stories is I did not have a relationship with my bad guy. Met him one night, he did his damage. That one, now there was lingerings of the damage, but I would
Uh-huh.
be able to pick him up or pick him out of a lineup, right? Like these are the people that you were born and told you love them, you trust them. So there for the longest time, this shit was what you thought was happening in everyone else's home, you know?
Yeah.
And so I someone asked me if I hated the man that did this to me. And the first time that the quote of you can't hate something you never loved before never made sense to me.
Okay.
I I didn't know him before. I had no love for him before. And so when someone asked me, do I hate him? Well, I couldn't truthfully answer that question if you wanted to know what was really in my heart, because I will only use the word hate when it comes to people, maybe actions or food or whatever. I'll use lightly, but when it comes to people, I try to not use it lightly. And when I was asked that question, I was like, fuck. The whole thing of you can't hate something that you never loved makes sense to me now.
Interesting. Wow. See, I would say for me, and I don't know where I heard this quote, but I remember it being very salient when I was walking through my divorce. And that was that the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. And
Yes.
so when I let like my readers, the people who've read my book and who follow me on social media, know like, hey, and I recorded a video specifically like within the hour because I wanted to have it on video what I was feeling, what I was going through, because everybody's asked, are you okay? Are you okay? And you can tell the difference between like my close friends and my not so close friends, because my not so close friends are like, oh, your mom died? Are you okay? And I'm like, I asked if they stuck a stake through her heart to make sure she was really dead. So yeah, I'm fine. When she died,
Even when and you know that I love and adore you, but I mean we've never met in person. We've had now. However, I know that if I needed a loving supporter, no
right
doubt.
here, baby,
So
right here.
I'm not trying to minimize anything, but I'm not trying to grant anything either. But even when you told me before we hit record that your mother died, I said, "Oh, how are you feeling about that?"
Mhm. Because that's normal. If somebody's mom dies, that's a sad thing, right? 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 Is it?
In a world where
Sure.
in
Yeah,
a better world than
right.
what your world used to be.
Exactly. And for me, the thing that I felt so incredibly powerfully at that moment was first shock, like, okay, that came out of the blue because we haven't talked to her in years. The only we had a vague idea of where she lived. She had divorced Papa before she passed away. She'd gotten remarried. She had completely changed her name, like full on first name, last name, middle name, completely changed. So I am not even sure how we found out that she was dead at this point. Um, but the thing that I felt so intensely was I have worked so hard in the last whatever 30 years now to get rid of the shadow in my mind, to chase it away, to think it away, to even pray it away when I was a good Christian girl, right? Like all of the things. And I thought I had, I really thought I had, but the amount of relief that I felt, like just to give you an example, when I talked to one of my sisters who's got a son in second grade who's just the cutest thing in the whole freaking world, and I said, how are you doing? And she goes, I don't know. I haven't seen her in like 10 years. I don't freaking know. I think I'll feel something eventually. And then there was like a pause, and she goes, huh, I guess I can call my school and tell them they don't have to look out to make sure this crazy lady doesn't show up at the school to try and kidnap my kid. That's the level of relief. Now, could I still get a random box from some random flying monkey that's was a friend of hers when she passed? Sure. And I'll deal with that when it comes, right? But she's not going to show up at my front door. She's not under my bed anymore. She's not in my closet. She's not hiding around the corner to look at what I'm wearing and judge me for it. I'm so glad that I don't have to wonder about it anymore. Like it's such a level of closure. I don't even know how she died. No clue.
Oh,
That
wow.
being said, just a little bit of tea. I did find the obituary. Apparently, she was still married to my stepfather. My grandfather, who is still alive, is dead. So I should probably call him and tell him that. I think he'll be shocked as hell. And all of the kids were listed, you know, Her children were dot 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 dot. Guess who wasn't on that list?
Really?
I wasn't born. My husband's going to be so disappointed. Here I am living my life. Didn't
And
realize I
you know
wasn't
what?
born.
Like, in today's America, I don't know if that's a blessing or, like, I'm like,
I mean, you're not wrong. Her? No, I don't know her. She doesn't go here.
honey, I've never met her. I don't know nothing
Mm-hmm.
about her.
No clue.
Um,
There was a picture too, which I will say this. I look so much like my mother that I went to a family gathering a few years ago, and like a long distance relative that I have never met opened the door, saw me, and slammed the door in my face because she thought it was my mother. That's how much I look like my mom. Luckily, she's got great legs. So do I. So I'll take that.
honey.
But this poor woman aged like milk. She was only 67.
Oh,
She didn't
wow.
look a day over 90.
Wait, so 67 when she passed?
Yep.
Okay. So because I was like, wait, they were really young, which I mean, yeah, they were so young. But my mother will kill me. I cannot let her listen to this episode because I'm be like, well, my mother's age. My mother just turned 68,
Oh, she's going to kill you.
but she turned 58. My parents had me when they were 14.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So I was like, wait. Yeah. So okay. Couple things. Um um when you say you look like your mother, did you find certain pictures that you look like her that you had like how do you feel about how you look like your mother?
I hated it for a lot of years. I hated it for a lot of years because I got called Dolores Jr. DJ. People called me DJ a lot. I talk just like her. I tell stories just like her. Sassy just like her. I talk with my hands just like her. If you really look at it though, like I'll give you an example. My mother was on the 700 Club twice, interviewed by the infamous Pat Robertson, may he rot in hell. And the stuff that came out of her mouth was so full of bullshit that Pat Robertson questioned it.
Of all people.
Seriously. So I actually tracked down one of the videos, which is hard because this was back in the 80s, right? When she was working for Weeba. And I put the video on and I was like, all right, I want you guys to see this. My husband and my bestie were there, and they were sitting there like, "Ooh, okay, okay." And then she came on, and she's being interviewed, and she's talking, and both of them just turned and looked at me, and they were like, "We know that you said you look like your mom, but oh my god!" And I'm like, "I know." That being said, if you look real close, I had much prettier eyes than her. They came from my father, whoever he is. She has no lips. I have beautiful bow lips. The first time I heard myself laugh after I left home at the tender age of 19, I stopped mid laugh because it sounded so much like her, it scared me. And there's a thought process that I have heard before. Well, you have to learn to love those parts of yourself by learning to love those parts of her. And fuck that shit. Because I look more like my Aunt Mabel than I do my mother. And my Aunt Mabel is a beautiful human being inside and out. So that I can love. So am I drop dead, Charlize Theron gorgeous? Absolutely not. But am I cute enough? Damn Skippy.
No, you are, yes. Here's my thought on this. Of you looking like your mom. My question was going to be, did were there pictures that people were seeing or videos that people were seeing where your mom was being the mother that you know, the ugly, hateful, or was she showing the happy, bright side of her?
No, the only time If my mother's mask slipped, we moved. And we moved a lot when I was growing up.
And was the mask ugly and hateful, or was the mask pretty?
The mask was beautiful. Everybody loved Mama. Mama could talk you out of your shoes, and has the amount of houses that have been literally gifted to her. I read the book. It's because she's a great salesman. She's very charismatic. She's a great speaker. I've seen her speak. She's engaging. She's funny. She's a good storyteller. All things that I am, come by it naturally, right? But stepping away from her and looking at like her dad, my aunties, my uncle, same thing. They're charismatic, they're fun, they're energetic. They all struggle with some level of neurodivergence and some level of depression. My granddad says that he has lows it takes a ladder to get out of, which we all do, right? But just looking at, like, I have photos of her where you can sort of see the mask slip, but it's very rare. Very few people saw it, and the ones that did disappeared from our lives fairly quickly.
So this could mean shit, you know, and that's okay, right? But what as your friend, I want you when you think of or reminded about, or if someone says how you look like your mother, I want the next thing to come out of your mouth or mind is, I look like what could have been of my mother.
Oh,
If
yes.
my mother was a good person. But because I think that we are all born good, right? It's like we see those pictures of, you're not born racist, you're taught
Right.
because
Exactly.
babies and white babies love each other, and then all of a sudden,
Yes.
10 years later, they're like questioning, because mommy and daddy.
Right.
So I would love for you, when someone says that to you, I want you to remember, and well, not remember, but know how beautiful you are. And I want you to take what they are saying and suggesting, regardless of their intent, as honestly a compliment to your mother.
She did good.
It's,
She picked a good man. I mean,
well, I mean, a compliment to your mother, as in, she could be you. She could have been you beautiful.
yep. And
And
evil ages you. Evil, like hate and anger, like like I was telling you with the what do they call the crow's feet. I love that I have crinkles where I smile now, and my mother's smile lines all went down, and mine go up
and that's
because I smile more.
that speaks a lot. When like, I love to be, honey, I will go to another country, I will go to, I don't care like, I anything you want to, my lips are fake, my teeth are fake, my cheeks are fake. I've had 3 nose jobs. My forehead moved 10 years ago. um, you know, um what was the point of me saying this?
I don't know, but I went all the way to what's it called? Uh
Tijuana.
nope, lost it. It's gone. You were talking about going to other countries.
Yeah, but there was a funny reason me saying it. Well, and I guess the point of what I'm saying is, even though I've done these things, that's what it
It's
was.
back.
It's back. Is every plastic surgeon, every doctor, nurse practitioner that's given me an injection of some sort has mentioned that you spent a lot of your life laughing. You spent a lot of your life happy.
Oh my God.
I would have thought different, right? Because and most of us would, right? Because what sticks out mostly is when someone says, "Tell me your story." It's not, well, I was 12 and I went to Disneyland. It's like, oh, I went
Right.
out with something horrible to justify why I had a happy moment at Disneyland, you know? And so what I want to say to you is, and I think that you already know this, but when it took me a little bit of time, it took me actually having that conversation with my therapist of plastic surgeon says that I've spent obviously most of my life happy and smiling, and I feel like he's a fucking liar, you know? Because they were like, you can't reverse these lines, and would you want to? These are the happy lines.
Yeah. The body keeps the score.
Yeah. And I love your happy lines, although I've yet to see one.
You can't see them. They're great. That's what filters, all the filters. No, I have filters. That's fine. I used to actually, when I started going gray, I always wanted to go gray like mama because my mother had dark hair to begin with. And then it was really like Wonder Woman curls, like those big, beautiful, natural curls that if she had ever cared for her hair would be gorgeous. And it got darker and darker as she got older. And then in her mid 30s, she got a streak of bright silver on one side, like Frankenstein's wife. And it was gorgeous. And I remember being a kid going, damn, if this is what I have to look forward to, that's amazing. I am for it. And she went to a prayer meeting, right, with all the good old Southern gals. And she's like, ladies, should I do something about this? Like, what do you guys think? And everyone's like, no, no, we love it. And then some 150-year-old little Christian lady goes, oh, honey, you look just like a polecat. She's gone. So my mother's been bodacious burgundy for the rest of her life.
But I'm loving this, and I feel like, and I could be wrong with this, but I feel like when we were doing the survivor stories and you were on there, I feel like I asked you like what was one of the first things you did for your appearance when you left, you know, this religious stuff. And I could be wrong with all of this on or how it was asked in the conversation, but I feel like you having the short hair was part of that answer.
It absolutely was, yes.
Okay.
Because I grew up with there's a verse in, I want to say Proverbs or Song of Solomon, that the woman's hair is the crown on her head, and happy is the man who can take pride in it, because that's the most important thing, right? And the one time I got my hair cut, I had so many split ends because I never learned how to care for myself. And so the lady who was cutting my hair at the Jesus People, the inner city commune, I said shoulder length, thinking like, a little below the shoulder. She heard shoulder length. Well, it turns out when my hair's short, it gets real curly. So she cut it, and when it dried, it went up to my ears. And I will say this, it looked pretty damn cute. And my ex-husband, bless his sweet little heart, literally burst into tears when I walked in the room. I can't believe you cut your beautiful hair. Really?
Ex-husband.
Ex-husband. Ask me why.
Read the book.
So,
listen to the interview.
Read the book. It's a great, great story. Good Lord. But yeah, keeping my hair short. And funny enough, I was talking, I had another set of headshots done because I run my own graphic design firm, and I mostly work with real estate agents. And at least 6 times a year, I have to sit down with an agent and go, look, you're beautiful, right? Or you're handsome. But this photo is either so airbrushed or you had it taken when you were a fetus. So we're going to need you to look like you. Let's get you some new headshots. And here I have been running my business for 8 years and haven't had new headshots. I'm like, it's time. But I was getting new headshots done, and I was talking to the amazing photographer that I was working with. And I had this like memory come back to me. My mother used to tell me all the time that I was going to be fat. You're going to be fat if you eat like that. No man's going to want you if you put on too much weight. Of course, I was 16 and didn't even weigh 100 pounds yet because I was never fed. But nevertheless, at some point, I got my hands on between 18 and 19. So somewhere in that year, I got my hands on a vintage black girdle, like the kind that's like full body girdle. And I wore that thing until I got married at 22. Under blue jeans, dresses, whatever, because, and I mean, at that point, the thing's 60 years old and is literally rotting off my body, but I felt so fat, so looked at, so viewed, which is also a part of purity culture, which if you want to go on a rant about that, I got stories to tell. And it wasn't until I was well into my 40s, and I'm creeping toward 50 now, but it wasn't until I was well into my 40s when I remember having this discussion with my bestie, and I was like, so how old were you when you were finally comfortable with your body? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I wear what I want to wear. If I want to dress up, I'll dress up. If I want to go in blue jeans, I'll go in blue jeans. If I want to wear stretch pants and a dirty t-shirt, I'm going to fucking wear that, and I'm going to be comfortable. And she's like, how did you get that? What? And I'm like, whoa, this is one of those very rare moments where we are not on the same page. Really? I think it might have something to do with like maturity, growth, deconstruction, blah blah blah, but also something happens in your 40s where you run out of fucks. You have a very limited amount of fucks to give, right? And I don't dress for men anymore. Even if I want to dress up, I'm dressing up for me. And I'm really blessed because the man that I love is like, I just his so I have issues with the term love languages. There's a whole story there, but we both grew up in or lived in Judeo-Christian, and so we've both been through the little love languages. Whatever, fuck that guy. But his is quality time, and so I had asked him one time. I'm like, hey, tell me I'm pretty, and he's like, babe, you're gorgeous. And I was like, I mean, yes, but do you like my outfit? And he's like, yeah. And he kind of looks down. He goes, you look like your shoes are uncomfortable. And I'm like, well, I in high heels, it's winter and it's raining. So yeah. And he goes, did you want to wear high heels? I'm like, for you. He's like, I'd rather you be comfortable. He's like, look, the time that you invest in making yourself pretty, feel pretty, is more important to me than what you look like. And it just, whoa, okay. So yeah, that's, 15 years later, I don't dress for men. I don't dress for women. I dress for me.
I love that he said that to you because and I've had conversations about this before, but I think that, and I could be wrong with this. I'm not a doctor, therapist, scientist, lawyer, none of those things. I'm do my best to be a podcaster, but I'm not even one of the elite in that. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that if a woman wears uncomfortable shoes, and if a woman wears a girdle and clothes that she's not comfortable in, it's easier for a man to get her out of those.
Don't
And
think you're wrong.
so it's that control thing, right? Like if I'm a heterosexual man and I tell the woman I'm trying to court that I like 10-inch stilettos, short skirts, low tops, even in the winter. This is what gets you to my heart, and I've got a little bit of money in the bank, whatever that
Whatever it is.
thing
Yeah.
is, right? And so I take her downtown, and she's walking from the Uber to the bar, or the restaurant, or whatever, in these heels. And then I want her to dance, and I want her to be sexy because, of course, I need to show her off at what
Of
I'm
course.
privileged enough to have, or what she's privileged enough to have, whatever mindset they have. It's not going to take very much for the man to say, "Let's go home and get you out of these clothes."
If you're uncomfortable in it, don't wear it. Now, if a tube top and a pair of striptease panties makes you feel sexy, girl,
100.
fucking do it. But no, I think it's really important, especially in today's society. And honestly, I will say this. I do think the generation coming up, I think Gen Z and Gen Alpha are changing that already, in little ways, right? Gotta love our honey badgers. Gotta love our honey badgers. But in the generation that I grew up in, like I vividly remember my stepfather taking me to one of his good Christian friends' mechanic shop. Okay. I was 16. I had just gotten boobs. Thank you very much. And I had finally been allowed to stop wearing long dresses and was wearing blue jeans. So I'm wearing blue jeans, a tank top, and I remember it was a yellow button down top. And once I told you, I got cleavage to my chin on a good day, right? And this man sat there oogling me with my stepfather together, talking about how hot I was and da 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 and whatever. And finally, after like a half an hour of this, I was like, I'm gonna go sit in the truck. I think I'd rather die. Anyway, so I left. My stepfather comes out, sits in the truck, and I am pissed. I'm so pissed. And I didn't have the words for what I was feeling at the time. I didn't have, like, how do you have that conversation with your dad, right? And he looks over at me and he goes, you okay? And I went, no. He goes, well, next time just take your shirt off, flash him, maybe he'll leave you alone. That was the advice I got from my father.
And what I do not love about that, well, I don't love anything about it, but what is
right
about that is some people would believe, let me take my shirt off and be like, all right, fucker.
Bling.
But he's not going to leave you alone.
No.
That's going to be his testimony in court that the victim was consensual.
Sure. Because when you're 16, you can consent, right? Right? No? What about when you're 5? Does that count? No? Oh, all right. Well, she was enjoying it.
Ask us again in a week, because I guess that's
right? Up. Oh my God. And the fact that there are still not just like 4 or 5, but I think it's like 20 something states that still allow child marriages under the down to the age of 12. I can't. The level of anger. Anyway.
Let's add that to the ish list.
Add it to the ish list. I mean, one of the things I did, and I feel like I did well in my book, was, yes, there was trauma that happened. There was also magic that happened. There was also incredible moments that happened. And I'm so excited to be a part of this podcast, because you've gone from, like, I've watched you grow in these little ways, just from like all this far away, and to, like, joy is a form of resistance, right? And you are going out of your way to go, oh yeah, watch this shit. We're going to laugh our asses off, and it's going to be magic. We're going to dress in frog costumes and stand in front of the ice prison center. Ha!
You're making me emotional right now, and I love it. It's a good, but you have, like, you were one of the first supporters, one of the first on my show as I started, like, getting some traction. And the first live I ever did was with you.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And I just, even if we don't talk daily, I know that if you saw my number pop up on your phone, even if you can answer, you'd message and be like, I can't answer right now, what's up? And we're gonna talk. What I want to say to you is this. I have not been through what you have went through with a parent. So take what I say as you will. But I have had situations where I've questioned the emotions that I was feeling when someone passed. And I was like, but they were horrible to me. Like, why do I feel a mourning? And so I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but I want to tell you that it's okay to mourn the mother that you didn't
have. And if I mourn, that will be what it's for the little girl who deserved a mom, I'll tell you a quick story, because I know that we could talk for hours. And I swear to God, next time I am down south, we are going to pick a porch. We're going to find some rocking chairs. We're going to have some sweet tea, and we are, get out. Do you have a front porch?
I just had one built. They're building the awning thing right now.
Yes!
I have a porch swing, and honey, we're set.
We're set. It's happening. It's happening.
I will hire someone to make us sweet tea.
So when my stepfather died, I was iffy about it. My emotions were kind of doing one of these numbers, and my siblings all had good relationships with him, to the point where he got a military funeral because he was in the Marines for 20 years. There is a memorial garden with a brass plaque and an American flag in my baby sister's yard with his name on it. And I think the man should rot in hell. And that would be a kindness for him for what he did to me, right? My best friend, who is her family are all atheists. She was raised Lutheran, and then she joined the Mormon Church for like 10 years. Whole long story of deconstruction there, but they are atheist or agnostic now at this point. And so I was telling her, like, I don't know how to feel. And she's like, I'm coming over to do a funeral with you. And I'm like, absolutely the fuck not. And she goes, no, I'm coming. So she comes over and with her husband, who is a doll, and it was pouring down rain. And they brought a bottle of 21-year-old scotch. I'm sorry, rum, which I love. And I'm joked that, 21-year-old rum, way older than he likes, you know. And the way that they do their funerals in their home is June passes out little slips of paper and ink pens. And we spend an hour, 2 hours, however long, writing down everything we remember about that person, from the freckles on his arms to what he did to me, to that he was my best friend for so many years and I lost that, and just his those stupid tennis shoes that he used to wear, whatever, right? So we sat there and we wrote down all these things and we put them all in this metal bowl, right? And huddled under my little gazebo. And then we lit it on fire. And now we have ashes. And so for someone they care about, so like when my best friend's husband's parents died, they mixed those ashes into the dirt with an orchid. And that's kind of like just, and isn't that sweet? Is that the sweetest thing? And so June's like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to flush him down the toilet? Do we want to bury him? Like, what do you want to do with this? And I was like, I don't want him on my property at all. Now, I am no longer a Christian. Bless the goddess. I am very much, I will say, agnostic I know that there's a lot of things we don't know and a lot of things that connect with me in kind of more of the witchy world, not like Wiccan, but like I find my peace and my energy by getting my hands in the dirt, right? So I gain a lot from the earth and the moon, and those are the things that really empower me. And I was like, okay, if I had my druthers, I wish for this man that there is no afterlife that he gets accepted to. And he gets to spend the rest of eternity roaming the earth with nothing but his thoughts to keep him company. And June's like, oh man, remind me not to piss you off. And I was like, you know what? There's a crossroads just down the street. Let's go. And the sun started to come out as we got closer to the crossroads down at the end of my street. And I stood in the middle of the crossroads and I dumped out the ash and I was like, fuck you, Papa. And I turned around and walked away. Before I got to my house, 2 monster trucks, big old tires, like big old monster trucks, came out of freaking nowhere and started doing donuts in the crossroads, the ash flying everywhere. And then they disappeared and I've never seen them since.
You know what I love about what you just said, and I don't even know that I've ever said this out loud, but I feel like if there, I don't believe this. I don't believe there's a fiery pit that people spend eternity in.
No.
But I feel like if there was, the spirits that were there um, would be screaming, I was the victim. I shouldn't burn for this. I did this because, right? What I appreciate about the the hell that you were sending this person to is they would probably have enough hope to think that at the next stop sign, at the next corner, at the next turn, there's going to be something to validate, something on the side. Um, and so he's not going to admit to anything. He's going to almost keep quiet about things and just run this torment circle, knowing why he's there, but
Yeah.
not able to say anything out loud and still not able to play a victim. And I think that is almost a beautiful hell I mean, a beautiful hell for the people that are there that I have done bad things to me.
Right?
But it's a very torment hell.
Yep. And eventually, if the stories are true, you're going to lose your shit. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your hope. And you still have to exist for eternity, watching the world until it disappears. And that's on you, friend. And that if wishes come true, if karma is true, et cetera, et cetera, because I get asked all the time, well, did your parents go to jail? No. Did they go to court? No. I just lived with this. I defended this man until I was in my freaking 30s. So how could anything change, So having that, like, it felt very empowering to me. And I say all that to say that if and when the mourning process comes, which I'm sure that it will at some point, that will be my process for her as well. I don't know what I'll wish for her, if anything. But I agree. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in a heaven. I do believe that energy, you can't destroy it, you can't create it, which means we're all star stuff. So, yeah.
I love that, and I love you, and
I love you too.
thank you, my
You're
friend.
just my freaking favorite.
As we're
We can talk for days. I love it.
I know. Oh my gosh, I know, and I love it too. But as we're bringing this to an end, what I want to say to you, and I know that I've already kind of hit on this, but I just want to say it again. Whatever emotion you have with the passing of your mother is all valid.
Thank you.
And if you call me and you say, you know what, I just need a person that isn't going to judge me because I feel some relief that this person is guaranteed out of my life right now,
Yeah.
I'm that person. If
Yeah,
you
you are.
call me and you say, I know I called you yesterday and it sounded like I was celebrating his freedom, but today I want to cry, honey, we will fucking, well, I will let you cry. I probably won't because I probably just spray tanned and straight.
Fair, fair. There are priorities here. Come on.
Inside, just crying. I know that personally, I have been questioned on my changing of emotions daily as I grow, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes want to take a step back for a day, and I will never question that because this is a goddamn roller coaster. It is what we have been through, what so many of us have been through, and I don't say me and
Yeah.
you, as in we are limited. Everyone has. We just recognize it and we talk about
Right. Which is very rare and is so vital. It's
that.
so vital.
So,
It's very much, Yzma, put your hands in the air. Off we go.
aha. So, okay. So when we get off, I'm going to send you all kinds of things. But so I, goddamn, I love this conversation. I want to ask you a question. I want you to definitely end on tell us where we can find you. Um, your book was the first one because you were one of the first authors I had a conversation with via podcast and build a relationship with. Um, you gifted me an autographed copy, and I've got it on my shelf over here of your book, and I love it. I fucking love it, and I adore you, and so thank you for that. Um, so my question is, after writing your first book and going through all that it takes to write a book, just emotionally alone, right? What
Yeah.
are my emotions alone? You're in a place as of a couple of days ago that is totally different. I'm sure there's a sense of freedom, but a sense of like scratching my head, a sense of
Yeah.
like, what is this question mark over here for? Do you see another book in your future? That's my rapid fire question to you.
It's a great question. One I actually get asked a lot, especially with people who have read my books. When's the next one coming out? And I don't know that I would necessarily. Um, that being said, if I did write a book again, there is a book called All I Ever Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And if you haven't read it, buy it, read it. It's amazing. Have you read it? Ah! Friend, I interviewed Robert Fulghum right down here at Pike Place Market when I was going to school. I was like, okay, I'm running the magazine. I need to write an article. I know it's a school magazine, but would you be willing to meet with me? And he's like, yeah, I'll buy you breakfast. So he brought me like an autographed copy. He brought me, apparently there's a 25th anniversary edition that goes back to like his wish list. You know, remember in his book, he talks about how he's always wanted to conduct the Beethoven's Fifth. He got to conduct Beethoven's Fifth. Such a cool story. Anyway, highly recommend. But I love the way that he wrote the book because each chapter was just basically an essay. This is what I'm thinking about today. This is the thing I'm struggling with. This is the thing that I think is funny. And I still write, mostly for myself. It's quite a bit of like train of thought writing or journaling. So if I was to write another book, it wouldn't be like Girl Hidden. It wouldn't be a memoir. It would be more a series of things I'm considering right now. But I also know how much work it takes to actually get to the point of publishing a book. So much so that this last book took me 25 years to write. I will write another book before I ever publish myself again. Oh my God, that was so much work. Lord. But yes, great question. And at this time, no, but you know, you never know. I'm only 48. I got a lot of years left to live.
Yeah,
My
so
grandkids say funny stuff.
I love that, and I want to say that my knowledge and resources and things that I've been through personally are hella different, right? Um, but with people that I've interviewed, whether their parents were, if their parents were the abuser, right, and whether their parent is still alive and there's no contact, or their parent is alive and there's been forgiveness but still a wall, or
Right.
if the parent died before answers, I think where survivors and or victims, whatever you choose, I think people like you um, would remind them of the grace that they are allowed, and and love them through the today you may hate mom, tomorrow you may love dad, but it doesn't take, and I'm not saying it takes a book to do that, right?
Right.
Like that's the beauty of you, and that's why I want to make sure that I share all the links, and how people can contact you and have you back. But I think that I wouldn't be mad if there was a book on the monster under my bed died today, and this is how I feel, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think there could be um a lot of connection with that. And,
Yeah. Because a lot of people, it's a mourning process that goes like grief isn't linear. We know this. But when you're grieving the loss of somebody who's still alive out there, it's a whole different, like, there's all these levels. You have to mourn from the 5-year-old perspective, then you have to mourn from the 16-year-old who didn't have the mom that she wanted, and then you have to mourn from like the adult perspective when I see like my bestie having this amazing relationship with her daughter. And like, it's those little things. Like I remember when I lived at the commune, there was this adorable couple. They were a few years older than me, and they had a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter. And the 14-year-old was just wandering down the hallway, and she's just singing her little singy songs, whatever. And the mom goes, "Hey, Rebecca, come here. No, come here right now." And I was like, "Ooh, somebody's in trouble." And her mom was folding laundry, and she stood up and she gave her a huge hug, and she's like, "I just wanted you to know how freaking beautiful you were." And I literally burst into tears and had to go running to my room so nobody saw me, because I was just like, does that even happen? How,
Like, am I in a Hallmark movie? Like, this is
Right?
right.
It would take Meg Ryan and a team of producers to make this moment happen. What is going on? So yeah, there will be mourning, there will be feelings. My brother who told me about Mama's death told me at midnight my time, which means it was like 3 a.m. his time. And he's like, I said, okay, I'm checking in with you. How are you feeling? And he's like, I feel like guilty that I should feel bad that my mom's dead. And I'm like, okay, fair, fair. I mean, your feelings valid. You don't owe her that, but
That's
do you?
totally fair, but it's unfair.
We deserve it. We should feel bad.
We are already told how we should feel about a life changing event. And in most cases, the loss of a mother is a horrific life changing event.
Yeah,
But
and
do
it should be.
not minimize the fact that sometimes loss of a mother is a life changing event of um, freedom.
Freedom. Yeah. His response was, I said, so what are you gonna do? I mean, it's like 3 a.m. All the rest of the kids are asleep. We're the only ones up. And he goes, I'm gonna go into the kitchen. I'm gonna make myself something sweet and fatty, and then sit on the toilet and think about life. And I was like, there you go. Do you, boo?
I'm not mad at it.
All right.
I'm not mad at it. Jesse, I adore you.
I adore you
And
too.
and regardless of the relationship, I know this is going to be a trying time in the next couple of days, couple of weeks, however long. We can't put a timeline on,
However long.
right? There's a lifelong of bad to now have a bit of a almost closure to, but I feel like you're almost in like that like place where it's like, am I in what was it called, purgatory, where you're
Purgatory.
heaven or hell? It's like you're in that
Right. You're
place.
that middle ground.
Where do I go? Like I feel like
Like
that.
Catholics have to pray for you.
Yeah, I feel like this could be related to that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's there's gonna be feelings that come up. And I will say this. I'm very good over the last 3 or 4 years. I've gotten quite good at caring for my body and listening to my body. So, and I'm very, very grateful and very blessed to live in a world where if I need to cancel appointments with my clients and go sit in my garden and watch the leaves turn red, that's what I'm going to do today. And not everybody gets that opportunity. And I'm grateful for it. And I've worked real hard to make sure that that is the kind of life that I lead, because I got interviewed about a year ago. Somebody found me on TikTok and was like, she messaged me and she's like, so we have a Zoom book club where a bunch of us all get together and we want to read your book. Would you be willing to come to our book club meeting? And I was like, oh, well, of course.
yeah.
And all the podcasts that I've been on, and I've been on a lot, of all the podcasts, there was one lady who was like, because they, of course, they just were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what happened to this? What about that? Da, 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 da. And then one lady goes, okay, I have a question for you. You talk a lot about healing in your book. You talk a lot about growth and letting go of things and therapy. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she's like, what's a bad day look like? I was gobsmacked. My jaw was on the floor because nobody had asked me that. And I was like, wow, it's a great question, because nobody sees the days that I really can't get out of bed.
And I'm glad that you said that. And part of the reason why I wanted to transition into surviving ish is because I felt with the best of intent, I felt that I was absolutely being loving and supportive, and I'm not minimizing any of that. But I feel like there was a point where it was almost a toxic positivity, because I would listen back and be like, but wait, like it's almost there was an episode that I was editing, and I was like, even though I did not say this, and the other host did not say this, what I'm hearing is that toughen up, buttercup. And it was a toxic positivity when sometimes I just need someone to say, David, you're obviously having a bad day, and that is okay. Let's sit down and have a bad day together.
Yeah.
And
Order some junk food.
about those things, right?
Yes.
And so thank you for saying that. And that's exactly why I wanted to go to Surviving Ish, because I want to talk about the fact that, like, sometimes you know,
Yep.
I'm glad that person asked that question, because even though all the podcasters that I know, all the support systems, me myself had the best of intent, but talking about and bringing awareness to something that is negative and ugly, that is hurtful to someone, doesn't mean that you have negative intent. It's that you're being real with this person. So you're like, okay, this hurts.
Yeah.
Let's feel the pain, and then how do we kick this pain's ass? Versus the, well, tomorrow will be better. Fuck, tomorrow's better.
Right.
You're right now feeling this.
Yep. And you can't think your way through it. You can't talk your way through it. Sometimes my therapist used to say this. It's my least favorite phrase on the planet. Sometimes you just got to sit in it. One more thing, because I know that we are running long. I'm sure we are.
Oh, I don't care. I'll talk as long as you want.
So I was interviewed by a grief therapist. She has a podcast. She's very sweet. She's just absolutely butter cookie sweet. Just nicest lady in the world, right? And we're doing this interview, and she goes, so let me ask you, when did you finally feel that you had healed? What? And exactly. For the love of God, I need a drink. And I was very proud of myself. I'm still very proud of myself for this answer. I was like, I haven't. I won't ever. This is a scar that will always hurt. I'm going to be 98 years old and remember something my mother did that pisses me off. It's going to happen. So healing's not linear either. I said, look, if you want to describe it for you, you're standing on the beach. Your feet are in the sand. The ocean is lapping against your feet. Today is a good day. A little while later, the ocean's up to your knees. Some days it's up to your neck. Some days you're underwater and only your hand can touch the surface and you can only see the sky above. Some days a riptide comes in and knocks you on your ass. But every day you're standing on that beach. And I don't know what tomorrow's storm is going to bring. But I've worked very hard to have people in my life that when that riptide lands me on my ass, or when the water gets too high, they're going to pull me up. But I still have to stand on that beach every day. And she's like, oh, yeah. Think about that next time you're talking to your clients.
I would listen to every episode she does after that, because I'm going to bet you she has repeated that beautiful message.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I have some great attorneys. We could probably profit from. We would never. But
now we know how we're paying for those rocking chairs. Come on.
I mean, they're good rocking chairs. They're good rocking chairs. I love this, and I cannot wait to continue this conversation with you. And I can't wait to do lives with you. I can't wait for you to meet Jenny. And again, to the listener, I want to put link to the book, Girl Hidden, and
Yep.
a link to the podcast and all that in the show notes. Send in questions, because y'all, like, Jesse's our friend, and she'll come back. She'll come back. If I say questions, she'll come back.
And I'm happy to answer questions in the comments too. Like I'm just about an open book. Sorry.
Get it? I adore you. And, since I've been doing Ish, Um, and even though nothing's been released yet, I think I've recorded almost like 25 episodes.
Wow.
They're because I want that stockpile, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. You can have some breathing room.
businessman, if you
Exactly. Well done.
if
Well
you
done.
I could probably bankrupt a casino. If you will.
And then Vegas. Got it. Got it.
Right. But I haven't gotten emotional yet. And I was fighting the emotions, you know. Thank God for me that personally for me that I will never know what it's like to be in your shoes.
Same friend.
And right, and that's why I know it's safe for me to say that. You don't take that as an insult. You don't want anyone to ever be in your shoes. My parents have had their rough times, and there was even a time that I went years without having a mother as a child. But my mom has been back in my life for a long time, and she's in the past 20 years become mother of the year. You know, and I love that for me.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that you don't know what that feels like. If I got the call that my mother was no longer, everything in my life would be canceled or postponed for a bit of time. And it breaks my heart that you didn't get that gift. And maybe you did in other ways, but you didn't get it from her.
I didn't get it from her.
And,
I'm I I'm an exceptional Emma.
yeah,
And
100.
I'm saying that in the most humble way I possibly can. I am damn good Emma. And I work very hard at it. I love my grandchildren more and my kids more than anything in the whole wide world. And I am so grateful that they're in my life. I know if something happened to me, that there would be, I mean, after the party, there'd be a hell of a morning situation, right? Some great stories told. And I feel like, not that there's a winner and a loser in this situation, but with everything that my mother did to create a world where I was alone, I didn't have access to my grandparents who loved me. I didn't have access to my aunties and my uncle who loved me. Then she took away my siblings for 17 years and did everything in her power to undermine any potential relationship we could have. At the end of the day, on her deathbed, not a single family member was there, not one. She died alone. And I have relationships with all the people she tried to cut out. And I think that's a hell of a win.
And what I also want to say to you on an ending note, and sometimes I think these phrases become lack of better words, but there's a few lack of better word phrases that like hit me. I'm like, no, bitch, because you said that you worked very hard to make sure that you are good. And when you're not referred to as mama or grandma. What?
I am Emma. So my kids have a great relationship with their mom. So they have grandma, and her new husband is grandpa in his first name. And our first bio grandson, because our first grandson, who's 14 now, came into our world when he was 6 as kind of a package deal with his mom. So we went from no grandkids to 5-year-old, who is just the most amazing human being. Like someday when I grow up, I want to be as cool as him. But our first bio grandbaby, when he was 2, he named Alex Vampoff. And I was like, I need to have a name that isn't Jesse, because we're going to have small people in our world. And I know in the South, there's this kind of unwritten rule that it's Miss Jesse and Mr. whoever, right? It's a sign of respect. It's like older people, whatever. And I didn't want to do that because my mother was Mama Dolores to all of the random kids that lived in our house when I was growing up. And I didn't want that. And so I started looking up titles, like names for mother, grandmother in different languages and Amma, which I believe is Norwegian. I could be wrong, but Amma means spiritual mother. that cute? I love it. So I'm Emma. He's Bampoff.
Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. But kind of what we were talking about before we hit record is you said, and I think it's like a better words, right? But you said, I try really, really hard to be a good. And unless I'm wrong, unless you fooled me,
I'm not that good of an actress.
I didn't think so. But you don't have to act hard. There is no acting, and there is no hard when it comes to you being a loving, supporting person, grandmother, mother, wife, and friend.
Okay, now you're gonna make me cry.
Well, and I remember the time that I said I was having a conversation with someone. It was shortly after my attack when I was in distress, right? And I said, I work so hard every day to be a good person. Like, how does this fucking happen to me when I work so hard every day being a good person? And this person stopped me and they said, David, you've not worked to be a good person. That is the simplest thing that has come to you because you're a fucking good person. And I was like,
Wow.
and so I know that for shock factor to get a point across, we're like, I worked so hard at being a good mother and a good. No, you didn't. You didn't have to work hard at doing it. It comes naturally.
Thank you.
And I love
I love you too, friend.
it. I can't wait to have you back. We'll be in touch. We'll talk soon. Tell your husband that I know there's a 3-hour time difference. So where it's 5:30 my time, your day is still been halfway taken up. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
It has delayed you having dinner or takeout or anything ready. Tell him or you, it doesn't have to be him. Send me the bill. I'll send it to someone, hoping they'll take care of it.
No, funny enough, I am not the cook in our house. That is the man that I love. He is an exceptionally talented cook. That's where his creativity comes from.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'll be like, I don't know, I'll have a hunk of cheese. If he's not home, I'll be like a hunk of cheese, a mouthful of turkey, and grab this apple. Let's go. Right. But then he'll be like, here is this gourmet meal that I just made for you. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I was hungry. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. I'll take it. Well, thank you so much. I'll be in touch with everything. I'll send you some stuff, and we'll do some lives, and we'll get you on Holier and all that. Thank you for spending 2.5 hours with me.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I love being a part of it.
Yes.